Now here's something that somebody needs to explain to me. How is it that some people just go through airports with really heavy bags, two sometimes, it applies to carry-on, and they just do it with ease? Or maybe they don't do it with ease, they just never talk about it. Konnichiwa, critics, rated t.s.m, and welcome back to Nihon no Kayobi desu, Japanese Tuesdays. And this is going to be the first episode in my series of story times that I'm going to be telling you guys about Japan. How many stories you get depends completely on how many stories I have to tell. It will either end maybe at the end of this month, or it will definitely end no later than the week that I leave for Korea, which will be the third week in August. And I will be doing a review video either that week that I leave for Korea or during some time in the month of August, if I even have enough story times to tell for that long. So expect a review video of this really good Japanese app that I think that you guys should utilize. Now, on to my first story time. Now, I was actually thinking of doing the review video today, but I realized that the story time that I wanted to tell goes a lot better with my Korean Thursday series of me starting with telling you guys traveling tips and all that stuff. So definitely check that out, because I may not be the most experienced traveler, but I have learned there are a lot of mistakes that experienced travelers make, and I don't even understand how they make these mistakes or realizations later. So on to the first story time, which is about my packing and bag experience throughout Japan. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, okay, so how bad can this be? And what even makes this worth being a story time? Well, there are a lot of things. And the first thing I'm going to say is the moral of this story is actually listen to people who know more than you. Now, you need to understand, this is my first out-of-country experience, so I didn't particularly know what I was doing with regards to packing. Fortunately, the program that I was going with, they did provide us a packing list and set of guidelines that we should follow and look at so that we would know how much we needed for 1 month away. The most important word for this video, which is something that I failed to do, is kiku, which means either to listen or to ask. Whichever meaning you think is the most important, you can comment down in the comment section below. But I will give you 2 hints with 2 phrases. One is kite kudasai, which either means please ask or please listen. And it's implied please ask a question. Or anata wa kikanaka ikemasen, which means you have to ask a question or you have to listen. First, we're going to discuss the packing list that I was given. The company that gave me my packing list, which is the company that I went to Japan with, obviously, I'm pretty sure the packing list was made by white or Asian people when it said don't bring any toiletries, because we should all be aware that pretty much no Asian country, except for maybe some of the South Asian ones, sometimes is going to have anything for hair that is not straight. And I'm sure that they have plenty of stuff for dry skin, but when you have dry sensitive skin and you don't know how something is going to react with your body type, it is best to bring something that you're comfortable with. That is one of the times that I do not recommend getting out of your comfort zone unless you plan on living there forever, then that's a different story. But I brought my own toiletries, so that was a non-negotiable thing. And even for going to Korea, it's going to be a non-negotiable thing. It doesn't matter how heavy it makes my suitcase or how much I have to struggle. I have to bring all of my hair products that last me for 10 months to a year. However, I made a huge mistake when it came to the clothing. First and foremost, they told us to only bring about, I think, 5 shirts, or maybe 5 shirts, and maybe 2 to 3 pairs of shorts and 2 to 3 pairs of long pants. And boy, oh boy, I brought, I think, 14 shirts. Sorry, and I even bought some of those shirts. And I also brought maybe 7 pairs of shorts and 7 pairs of long pants, or maybe more pairs of shorts than that and less pairs of long pants. But I brought 14 and 14 because my girl was saying, no, you need enough clothing to last you for 2 weeks. And like, okay, yeah, you're right. I think that 5 is too little. Again, let's take the time to remember that this was my first out of country experience. Now here is the obvious thing that's going to happen when you add more and more stuff to your suitcase. It's going to get heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier. Now here's something that somebody needs to explain to me. How is it that some people just go through airports with really heavy bags, too sometimes, it applies to carry-on, and they just do it with ease? Or maybe they don't do it with ease, they just never talk about it. Me, I struggled getting that thing off the baggage claim and dealing with it when I got down to where I needed to go. So first and foremost, here is the first problem and first horror of my entire Japanese or Japan trip. It was Asakusa subway station. Getting on the train to go all the way from Narita International Airport all the way to Asakusa subway station was bad enough. I had to carry my suitcase all the way to the train, and then I had to make sure I kept it with me and up to myself while I was on the train full of a bunch of other people who were getting on and off the train. And as I was getting there, eventually I had to get off that train and I had to get off the platform, right? My leader did not know that Asakusa subway station has an elevator to get out of it. So what do you think we did to get out of the subway station? We had to walk up about 5 flights of steps. We had to get off the platform and we had to go through this little interchange thing, go up those steps. Then we had to go up more steps. Now, the last steps that I thought, I was like, okay, this should be home free because there aren't that many steps here. After I went off that little flight of steps, I saw 2 more really long flights of steps because my leader, bless his heart, could not find the elevator that we didn't really look too hard for. So we went up those 2 really long flights of steps, and there was a little break in between the 2 really long flights of steps to just give us a little bit of a rest. I rested for that short period of time, and because I really did need to rest with my heavy suitcase. And then I was hit with Philadelphia-like air as soon as I got up the last flight of steps. Sadly, the hotel was also extremely far away from the subway station, and I had to drag my thing all the way there as it was flipping over and falling and but it's okay because I was told that they're going to be transporting our luggage from location to location for us. Every time we moved to a new location, we had to take all of our stuff with us. Nobody ever mentioned that though, and we had moved pretty frequently. So we stayed in Tokyo for our orientation for about 6 days. Then we went to Kyoto. And how did we get to Kyoto? We had to get on a bus for 10 hours. Now, I didn't particularly mind that because every time the bus stopped, I got to use a nice clean bathroom and not the bus bathroom. But every time after we got off the bus, we had to go get our large suitcases and we had to go take them into the Kyoto subway station so that we could store them before we went to the super tiny, not super tiny, to the Buddhist temple. So we took enough stuff with us for the Buddhist temple, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, it was not fun getting it in that Kyoto subway station, and out of that Kyoto subway station to take it to our extremely small little traditional hotel in Kyoto. So that was a mess because everything was just super far away from each other. But at least we didn't have to go up those darn hills and on the subway again. Well, at least not the subway train to get to the Buddhist temple with those bags. But you want to know what was horrible most of all? It was those yellow things on the street and those weird things that were just everywhere. So nobody knows what there are when they come to Japan. Then you find out that they are, since we do have them in the United States, that they are actually for the blind. So then I was like, okay, I feel bad that I hate these things, but they're really hard to drive their suitcase over. But, you know, they do have a purpose, and they do make transporting your suitcase much harder, but it's okay. It's okay. It's all for a good cause. Then, it was when we got to Sapporo that I became intelligent. In Sapporo, I realized that I can just drag my suitcase along by the side of me instead of pulling the whole weight. Now, why didn't I think of that sooner? Because I didn't think of that sooner, though. I had been struggling the entire time, but I still had to deal with the problem with the fact that my suitcase just kept falling on its face, and I had to keep lifting it up after that. Because it was too front heavy, and I didn't pack my suitcase in a way that would handle the weight the way it should have. So it just kept falling, and it hated me, and it was horrible with regards to that. It was just terrible in the city of Erimodo. Oh my gosh. With all those hills and all of that wind and stuff trying to steal even your whole body away. No. So I learned my lesson, especially when we went back to Tokyo, and then I had to drag that whole thing home by myself. That, do not overpack, and do not, actually, if somebody gives you some guidelines, okay, actually take a look at them. Okay, actually pay attention. And if you're confused about something or unsure about something, maybe, you should get some guidance from somewhere. So, you can look down and see if which word is the word of the day or more important word for this video, or is it both? It could be both. This could just be the perfect Japanese word to sum up two things that I needed to do, or just one thing that I should have done before I went to Japan for this whole trip to make this story time not exist. So that is my first story time for this whole segment. And yeah, prepare for some more story times in the future. I hope that you guys take heed to this, because this is supposed to be a word of warning or a word to the wise for what you should not do with regards to packing for such a short period of time. Which is why I'm making a whole packing series, and then what I'm worried about or preparing myself for Korea. I'm going to be doing that basically from July until the week before I leave, and I'll be doing an update video the day that I leave and all that stuff. So bye, critics. Come back Thursday for Korean Thursday.